because X, did you see a trailer for In a Violent Nature at all?
I did.
You
But I'm a
saw
horror.
you
But like I said, I'm a horror dude. So I look for it in that sense. I find them like they just find me or whatever the case may be. And I did. The first trailer that I saw, I thought it was a different take on Crystal Lake. Like we was gonna get something Jason Voorhees attached to that Jason Voorhees, and I thought that we was getting a film from the perspective of Jason Voorhees, right? Because he's walking through the woods. There's in the trailer they show the scene of him watching some girl swimming in the lake. So I'm like, okay, something interesting, something different, similar to like what we see with the Chucky projects, like a different director taking on the same idea, bringing a little bit different, a little bit something different to the story or whatever the case may be. I thought we was going down that road with the film.
I mean, it was definitely told from a different perspective and totally different from what you're used to seeing in the horror genre. So just to give a little bit of information on it, it's directed by Chris Nash, written and directed by Chris Nash. Never heard of this director before, but immediately, like once I first started watching the film, I saw it was in a 4:3 aspect ratio. So immediately I'm like, okay, this is definitely going to be an art house type of film. And the very first shot was it was very deliberate. Like it was just holding on this one particular shot, and it wasn't cutting to anything. And you started hearing dialogue here and there,
Mm-hmm.
and it also looked like it was shot in film. Like it had that film texture, that film grain
Green
to it.
look?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, they also were doing like very like in the beginning they were doing very minimal panning and tilts. It was a lot of static
Mm-hmm.
shot. So that was kind of like that art house style, which is completely separate from the traditional Hollywood style of movies. Um, but overall, this movie, I saw what they were trying to do. They were trying to tell a violent, diabolical story about this guy that lives in the ground who was awakened and is just moping around the forest killing people for no reason at all. And they took it to the degree of we were following this guy around times 10. Like they literally added so much time onto every little thing, us following him from point A to point B, him stalking people and watching them, and him killing people. We just saw the entire thing. It was like certain moments that you would have thought would have taken maybe 3 minutes in a traditional horror film. It took 25 minutes in this one. And that's not an exaggeration. That's legit. Like it took time. So I'm telling you right now, if you don't have the mental patience to really sit and watch trees and grass, like you are gonna be upset. But I'll finish with this last point and then I'll throw it to you, X. However, when you finally get to the kills, it is insane, unusually creative kills, very uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
creative, like killing like techniques. Like this dude is crazy. Just the way they did it. So the special effects team, shout out to y'all for making all the kills look realistic, and whoever came up with the way that that he killed the victims, shout out to y'all. But again, it is slow. It's slow.
That was a
It's slow.
beautiful review. I kind of want to see it now. All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
make sure you drink some Red Bull, take a nap, drink some
Chew some
coffee,
gum.
or nah. But you go ahead, X. Like,
So I'm sort of in the same boat. I don't know. I just all right. So being somebody who really enjoys horror from way back to before I was even born, watching horror films created in that era where it was heavy on the special effects and actually getting out there, getting the fake blood and diving into that instance. It's going all the way down to modern times where it's also kind of CGI aspects of what's going on in that sense. And I can almost always find some sort of enjoyment when it comes to horror films. This is along my lines too, like a simple slasher in a sense. This is what I expected it to be, a simple slasher that gives a lot of gore, right? Like really, really simple reason to why he's doing what he's doing, right? Just a bunch of kills. He's he's gonna be ridiculously hard to kill at the end, but finally you kill him, but you don't really kill him. And then we may see some more in the future. I've always looked at horror films as something fun. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going in there looking for Oscar performances. I'm not going in to look for the best, view or the best camera, angles, whatever the case may be. I'm going in there strictly to be either scared and have fun while that is happening. And so me personally expecting that and looking for that, and I'm sitting there and it's 15 minutes of him, just like scoping out the area. Now, I honestly truly thought that I wanted to know what it was like to see these stories told from the perspective of the killer. And but in my head, I was thinking of a killer with personality, Freddy Krueger, Candyman. Like these are killers in horror films that have personality that we can show. I'm not interested in seeing, the perspective of a killer with no personality. Don't talk. There's no like he doesn't play games. Like if there's nothing. A lot of heavy fucking breathing. The only personality he has is heavy breathing and walking. That's all you kind of hear. Now they do some moments. They do some moments. It's like where we kind of jump perspectives and we get some really, really great shots of like him standing in the background, and he's in the background because not only do you see him in the background, but we literally follows him for the last 15 minutes to get to that spot. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, really interesting. So this film, is it's obviously a low budget film. I believe it was it was made in Canada. The creators, made in Canada. It went to Sundance. It did really, really well at Sundance. Got picked up, and then it got put out there in the theater. So you kind of know that these are real like filmmaker in a sense, right? Like they didn't make it to make $1 billion in a box office or something like that, right? So they really took their time with it. It's low budget, didn't take a lot in the sense of like location, actors, etc. The like I said, the special effects, the type of kills was insane. Like the one kill that straight comes to mind is he does a kill where he kind of kills the girl and brings her whole head through her body and kind of twists it like he was interlocking the body and then kicked her off into the so the kills is on point. You just have to stay awake to get to the fucking kills. You get what I'm saying? The first 15, I would say the first 15 minutes is us staring at a pole. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're staring at this pole that's in the dirt that has a locket on it, and we're just listening to other people talk in the background. And then those people walk away, and then we're just slowly staring at a pole. It's like they're trying to lure you to sleep. And I just didn't understand that aspect of those type of shots when it comes to
I'll try and get a stab at what they were trying to do with that shot. So that opening shot with it was kind of we're staring into the woods, right? It was that pole, but you remember in front it was just like I don't know if it was like a window or a frame or something with broken glass. Now, if I wanted to be this, intricate, extremely introspective filmmaker, I could be like, okay, this frame that we're looking through, you see through the frame the woods, and the woods is like it's a huge theme in this project, right? And you see the broken glass, and the broken glass could represent that what's happening in the woods is corrupt or broken or something like that. I'm really reaching, but that could possibly be why they did that. And then they because notice they stood on that and then they
15 minutes,
dollied out, and then
15
the
minutes too.
pole came into there, and then they rack focused to the pole
Yeah.
with the necklace on it. That could have been it. That could
mean,
have been it, but
I
it
don't
took a
I don't
while.
makes
I
sense to
don't want
why
that in a horror film.
did in Sundance.
Huh?
People that makes sense to why something like that would do good at Sundance. People are gonna eat that type of artsy stuff up.
Oh,
Right.
they
Right.
in there looking for
Approach,
yeah.
they're
Right.
gonna really do well, and that's how you get investors, I guess. So shout out to
Yeah.
them.
I just when it comes to it's like, am I watching a horror film? It's like do we I'm 100% on the bandwagon of like pushing the norms when it comes to these horror to anything, especially in filmmaking. Like, yes, let's push the norms, let's stretch them, let's do something different. But at the same time, you still gotta stay true, stay authentic to some aspects of it, because your audiences are expecting a horror film, and we want to see horror. Like, we want to see those things. I think I thought it was great, because I've always wondered, like, we watched horror films, and you see the girl, she's running down the fucking in the woods, and she trip and she falls, and it's this build of where's the killer, where's the killer, where's the killer. You don't really get that so much in this film, because we're following the killer. So how I just felt like they needed to really dive into, how do you build suspense moving into the fact that we're viewing it from the killer, and we know where he's at, where he's coming from, when he's gonna strike, those type of things. And I think that's what didn't do it for me in this particular film. It's like, I wanted the suspense. I wanted to still have that build, and they had some moments of it, right? Like, when they was as a group, and they're taking a picture, and he's in the picture, like, he's standing in the back in the woods, literally in the picture, and they don't see him. I wish we had more, kind of moments of that, and less moments of him walking in the woods, because there was a lot of him walking in the woods, jump cut to him still walking in the woods, jump cut to him still walking in the woods, jump cut to him still walking in the woods. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? There was a lot of that. And I just didn't
Question.
understand why.
Question: do you think the movie would have it would have added to the movie if there was a break from the perspective of the killer, like maybe just
Absolutely.
somebody that
Absolutely.
he's like, okay, because that makes
Absolutely.
me think of when I originally saw the very first like the very first Strangers movie. I thought it was well done. The way
Mhm.
that, like, the kind of scene that you're describing is like, when you see them in the background, person doesn't know that they're in the background, and they're just like
Mhm.
kind of just there, and it's not even a tension type of thing from the music. It's just like, oh my god, don't turn around, like you're gonna, like,
Right.
where you build that tension within the audience, you're like looking like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's about to happen, and then nothing happens until you least expect it. So, but they kind of break away from that kind of thing. So you're saying that if you added maybe not so much trees and heavy breathing and stuff like that, but like from the perspective of one other person, like maybe the main character, like how would you creatively have done that?
Well,
'Cause-
I'll before you go, X, I'll say this. I think and again, this is just adding to the overall conversation about perspective and filmmaking, right? Because traditionally, you have the protagonist, you have the antagonist. In this particular film, they chose to follow the killer the entire time, or at least the majority of the time, right? Because there was probably minimal shots of just seeing the victims of the killer, right? Now, now let's just say that they were banking on making this primarily the perspective of the killer, right? How do we keep that, but keep it entertaining, quote unquote, right? We talked about personality before. I don't know what else could have been added to this character besides walking and breathing. They maybe there was something else that could have been done there to break up those moments of him just walking and breathing, right? Maybe he was working with somebody else. Maybe there was other things that he was doing. Maybe he has a base camp. like something like that. It just seemed like as soon as he woke up, he was walking for like 3 days straight. Didn't stop nowhere. Like he just was just walking the whole time.
And he had no direction, bro. Like he had no, like he didn't know who had to lock it. He was just walking the woods, and if you was in the woods, he taking you out type shit.
Like
You
it
know, you
kind
know
of what happened?
you want to know what's funny? Like if you, yeah, I see you guys talking about the the walking and breathing thing. It can be done correctly, but I have to like lean towards what X is saying in regards to you have to have the personality, or not even you don't even have to have a crazy personality as a killer. You have to establish like this is somebody that that has to have some cachet behind it. You have to build equity in that because I would love to see that from like a perspective of like a Halloween or like a Michael Myers. You're gonna get nothing but breathing and walking, but I
Right.
would be in tune because I'm
Well,
engaged because I rock with Michael Myers. I'm like, all right, okay, let me see where he's taking us with it. He's coming
They
down
did.
with one arm down the thing like that would be, but
Yeah.
I already understand who Michael Myers is. That's the
Right.
thing. You don't know
Mhm.
this guy. This is the first time meeting him, so that I think that's part
Yeah.
of it.
I think to kind of add off to like piggyback off of that, I think it's so like to your point, Terrell. I think you're overthinking it just a little bit. It's a horror film, right? It's like we don't when I go watch horror films when I'm watching like Freddy Krueger. I'm not talking about the newer horror films in a sense, like with Jordan Peele, how they're adding a lot more context and content and stuff like that to it. I'm talking about like tradition, because this is a more traditional vibe to horror films, like that 80s vibe, right? That type of vibe when it comes to horror films. That was a time where we didn't give a fuck about any of that. We didn't care about who the characters was, why that was there. We just wanted to see a body count, and that's it. And I think they could have fixed everything if they allowed him to run. Like if they gave
hmm,
him some sort of sense of urgency, right? Like
Hmm.
if because we have an understanding that he's trying to get that locket, right? Like he wants this particular locket. If there's a reason why he wants the locket other than sentimental reasons, I think we could have invested it a little bit more, right? Because then I'm like, he's already like a massive kind of structure to him, right? Like a Jason Voorhees type vibe to him. So he's already going to overpower you in a sense, right? He doesn't feel much pain or whatever the case may be. So it's not much you could do it. And then he has the surprise element. But then add on this nigga's a track star. You know what I'm saying? I think that just like there was a moment where they did that with Jason. Like all of a sudden, Jason didn't run. He just popped up and he was there, surprise element. And then all of a sudden, in some of the newer films, he's running. Like all of it. So now you have in your head, like, whoa, this nigga's running. So now I really can't get away from him. And I think if the idea of we see him move, we see him there. Like so, the suspense of we know he's in the space and we know this person is gonna die, and then we switch over to that victim's perspective, and we just see this massive figure running at like actually take off and do those killings. I think that would have made it better for me. I think that simple little thing would have made it 10 times better.
yeah,
Can you do me
it's
a favor?
tough. Hmm?
Can you do me a favor? Can you work on like a short uh like a short horror flick about a haunted track star, like just that just start running, like whatever it is you do, like don't run because then he'll start chasing you. That'll be fire. That'll be fire. So then you might have something. You might have to delete this part
That's
because
scary as hell.
that would be
You
you.
getting
Are you
chased,
kidding
you
me?
getting chased down by a husky, like a linebacker
Yeah,
built
that shit is
dude.
scary. That shit is scary.
Like,
What's great about aspects like that is the idea that you can't get away, right? Like
yeah,
you can run, but I'm going to also run and I'm going to catch you. And when I catch you, the fate is going to be the same. And I think that would have made it so much, like so much better. Like fuck all of this shit where like in the Jason films, they allow him to shoot a bow and arrow. He knows how to throw an axe. All of that shit was corny to me. But the idea, just the fear that he knows the woods and he's running, it was more than enough for me to be like, nah, this shit is OD. Like, nah, this is real. Because if I see him and I take off, and then I just hear the footsteps coming behind me as I'm trying to get away. Like, no, in my opinion, that's like real fear. You know what I'm saying? Like that, the idea of you can't get away, like you're stuck. He's going to catch you. I think that's top tier when it comes to being scared in a sense, right? Because like you hide, like the same thing, like you're hiding in a closet trying not to breathe. He already know that you're in there, and he opens the doors, and now boom, that fear. I feel like you get the same thing when you take off. Like I'm out of here, I'm gone, and then all of a sudden you hear the footsteps, like you hear him like slowly gaining on you as you're running away. Like, no, son, that's crazy.
Yeah, I
But that's all
think
they had to do.
yeah, this movie definitely was, and this is going back to what Gills was saying. Like, let's just say they told this horror film from the perspective of the people in the woods, like the couples and all that stuff, and the group of friends at the camp. This is pretty much them pulling us to the killer and just giving us the unfiltered reality. Like, this nigga just walks around,
Unfiltered reality.
he just be watching people, and they, they attempted to try and add a little bit of I guess you would call it personality or character. When old dude dropped his keys and he picked up the little toy car, he sat down and was playing with it and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, so something's clearly wrong mentally. He
Right.
he hasn't grown up mentally, like and that was funny how they added that in there, and I'm not quite sure if that was supposed to make us have compassion for him being a crazy killer,
Right.
or if it was just something they just threw just to have, just to chew on. I was like, oh, he's not mentally grown up, but I mean, that's a lot.
I would still keep, like, I would keep everything about the film and just make him speed up, like just make him run, like give him the ability to run and chase down these people, especially when they run away. Like just give him a sense of urgency, because it would have been great to see. A lot of times when we get the we don't really get the perspective of the killer chasing whoever it is that he wants to kill. We get the perspective of like them running away, and then we just get like different camera shots of them running.
Yeah,
really,
it was
really long scenes, like long fucking takes. Like that first, like they didn't warm you up either. Like they just dove straight into a long ass take. The film just came up, the woods. It showed us people talking in the pole, and it's like you could close your eyes in that scene and capture everything that's going on in that scene, because it's just them.
What happened?
How do you warm somebody up for that?
I don't know, bro. I mean, they could have gave us something, right? Like they could have gave us some backstory. They could have talked to us a little bit about it. They could have done like gave us some information about him, or like they kind of did just within them talking, like actual dialogue in the film. They kind of gave us backstory, but in those long kind of scenes, they could have just gave us a little bit more than what they did. Like they could have even put like, I don't know, it's the woods, there's animals in the woods. Like give us, they could have had something, animal drop walking by, maybe, there's a hunter. I don't know, it could be anything. They could have gave us anything. They literally just said, here's a pole, and you're gonna stare at it until I decide that we don't want to stare at it no more. That's literally what it felt like.
Yeah, they could have had like not necessarily a flashback, just a moment 10 years ago, like old boy said, 10 years ago he killed all those people. Could have been like that moment right before they like put him to rest or buried him or whatever, something like that. That might have given us a little like a jump into that.
They could have gave me a squirrel doing some squirrel shit. You know what I mean? Like just looking for a nut, just going around. Anything, man. Anything could have been on that screen, and it would have been more entertaining than what the fuck they had on that screen, bro. Then it took forever for the pole to like, cause he's in the pole. It kind of looked like you're underwater and you got the straw in your mouth and you're like breathing through the straw. That's kind of like what it was. And then it had the little charm bracelet or necklace on the thing. The kid took the necklace and ran off, and it just was there for a minute. I'm 3 minutes. We're staring at this thing, and then the pole starts to move. Another 3 minutes, the pole falls down. Then they change the shot, like they do a jump cut backwards. Another 3 minutes of him, moving around. You see his hand, and then another 3 minutes, he's out. Now he's like walking, trying to figure out where he's at or what he's doing or where he's going. And then he's hearing things. He hears somebody say like, "Shut up." So he turned his head and start walking that way. And then what really got me annoyed, is he's walking, and then we see a dead dog that got caught in a bear trap. Right?
Mhm.
It's the most pointless shit that we can see, right? Like it's just no point into even looking at this. He walks by it, then we start to hear people arguing, and it's a sheriff, a deputy, and a guy, and they're arguing back and forth about, hey, stop putting them fucking bear traps in the woods. And he's like, I can do whatever I want, and he's just walking so fucking slow to this house. And bro, we're literally listening to their entire argument for like 10 minutes. They're arguing, as he's walking towards them, to the point where we see the guy get in the car and speed off, and the killer walks into the house, and he's looking around the house looking for some shit, and then we see the guy come around. It's just like, just get
with
to
that
the
with that
point.
scene. With that scene, I was actually hoping that they would actually do a shot where, when the old man walked into the house and then they kind of stopped in the backyard of the house and old dude walked in there. I was hoping they would at least, let him like fuck him up in there, and we just heard like the sound. That would have been something brutal. And he just walked out, had blood all over his hands, something crazy like that would have been cool.
And then I still would have been a little upset because it's like, you made me wait so long. Like we're 20 minutes into the film, and I know you're gonna kill these people. Like I know you're obviously gonna kill them, and you made me wait 15 minutes to get there, and then you don't even show me kill him. Like you don't even show me the kill. You know what I'm saying? So it gets to that. It got to that kind of point, and then the old man gets away, and he runs out the house and runs out into the thing, and then get his own foot caught in his own bear trap. It's like,
why are you running into the woods?
It just made me
sir?
so mad, son. How
you could have ran on the road? You're not putting down
bear traps and not knowing where you put the bear traps. Like you're not doing that, bro. Like you're not
scared. If you're scared enough, yeah.
Bro, he could have ran on the road, bro.
Yeah, he could have went anywhere. Nigga ran into the woods where he put his bear traps and then forgot where he put his bear traps. Get the fuck out of here.
Now,
but even then, I sold it. I was like, cool. I sold it. It was cool. I get it. It is what it is. After he killed him, guess what he did? Guess what he did, Gills, after he killed him?
What?
Walked for another 20 minutes, nigga. Nigga walked so much it was dark. It was dawn. It was becoming day when he came out of the goddamn hole. And we didn't see the next kill until real life, real time walking at night. I said, yeah. And then on top of that, this is a sidebar. Then on top of that, them fucking donuts was nasty. So I was mad about that too. Like, oh, this shit's not even that good.
Come on.
So
I told you,
this weekend.
I want my $8. I want my $8 back.
Try to get on me like, yo, you're not supporting the theaters. Like, nah, this is what they do to you. So you can't do that,
bro.
I never get food from the theater. I rarely get food from the theater.
I mean, you know what to expect. It's gonna be mediocre, chicken tenders and fries and them sliders ain't shit. I
would never.
And they hella expensive.
Them sliders ain't shit.
The most I get from the theater is like I get a water. I might get a drink. Like when I was in Boston, I used to get the drinks because their drinks used to be strong as fuck. So I used to get a drink in Boston, and then I might get like the chocolate covered almonds or something like that. But getting food, it was never food. Popcorn, it was never food. Like I never really got food from the theater. Like it just never was appealing to me.
I'll get a slushie, and then if they have a new bucket, I will purchase the bucket and get popcorn. That's mainly the times I get popcorn. But if it's not no new bucket, because the bucket you can refill it, and they give you like a discount for that. So it's like the last bucket I got was Top Gun Maverick. So I missed out on the Dune one. I wanted to get that one, but it was already
one last thing about this film, because I mean I pretty much said everything. I despite it being slow, I did appreciate some of the shots that they framed up. I appreciated some of the shots they framed up.
I agree.
Like classic rule of thirds. Like, hold on, let me, because I shared my screen by accident before.
They definitely took their time with the shots. They definitely took their time to make it look good. And I agree.
Oh yeah, like this is what, this part right here is classic. Yeah, this is framed up real
and
nice.
This is that is some of the great aspects of the film. It's like we watched him walk there, so we know that he's coming. We know that he recognized her, he saw her, and he's gonna kill her. And then they switch to where we see her not seeing him, and that is what builds some of that suspense to me. Like, damn, bitch, turn around! You don't hear this nigga walking, like that type of aspect. Right. And I wish they like horned in more on that and less on the walking.
Oh yeah, this
and you can't tell me that doesn't look like Jason Voorhees. Like, you can't tell me this doesn't look like a Jason Voorhees. And I think that also played with my mental a lot throughout the film too.
Yo, sidebar. This scene, you remember this joint right here when he fucking threw that body at the glass? That shit was funny as
supernatural strength. I don't think people understand how hard it is to throw a body.
Bro, like
a body that doesn't want to get thrown, bro. Like,
it's crazy.
They need to show him perspective in the gyms, and that's what's up. Be on that Michael.
But no, I mean, I think this film would have been great to see on streaming. I think this would have been a better experience for me on streaming, like to sit down and kind of check it out on a streaming. I think I was a little bit more upset because I went to the theater to see it. And I would have loved to be a lot more comfortable watching something like this, like on my couch, leave my feet up, laid out, kind of relaxing. I can pause it when I want to pause it and go use the bathroom type shit.
I disagree. I think this movie is so slow. You should watch it in theater. You know why? Because in theaters you're disciplined and you don't have a choice except to watch it, and you're inclined to be on your phone less because you got other people around you. You want to be that dude, right? So if you're at home, you're definitely not going to pay attention to it, because once 2 minutes pass, you getting up, you about to go get you something to eat, you about to go heat up some food from last night.
That's what I'm saying though. That's what I'm saying though, because that's why I would have preferred to watch it at home, because you could do that in this film and not miss. I can get up and say I'm watching in my living room. A lot of times your living room, your kitchen is kind of connected. You just kind of see the TV, whatever. But I literally could have got up, grabbed something out the refrigerator, threw it in the microwave, started it, and went back, and that shit would have still been on that fucking pole. Guaranteed.
This was the most gruesome scene. That car ride at the end was brutal. Yeah. That 20-minute car ride, bro.
You hear him say 20-minute car ride, right? Like, that was like real time 20-minute car ride.
Lord,
like we was watching them stop at the red light. We was watching them stop at the stop sign, put on the blinker, turn. Like, we seen all that.
What made me angry though a little bit, and this was, I guess this is part of like building suspense. They were driving for 20 minutes, and she was going pretty fast. I want to estimate between 60 to 75 miles per hour down this road, all the way down, right? Then the woman saw that she was bleeding out and decided to stop. This poor woman is still in fear that he might pop out the woods and get him. I'm telling you right now, if he would have popped out of the woods right at that moment, I would have been pissed the fuck off. I'm like, ain't no way this nigga teleported all the way, or he ran. Running thing. He just starts sprinting like you saying.
All of a sudden, this nigga want to run.
Yeah, like that's an urgency right there. So, these niggas getting away. Hold on, son. Hold on.
I'd have been like, all right. I mean, and that's when I would have been like, okay, he's some sort of supernatural creature, because he was breathing underwater like a Navy SEAL, doing all types of wild kills like that. I'm like,
I wish, bro, I'm telling you, take out some of that slow ass walking, my nigga, and this film is chef's kiss.
45 minutes.
I mean, so be it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I feel like there's nothing wrong with having especially when it comes to the horror genre. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we have this unwritten rule, I guess, where it has to be an hour and a half or it's not going to be good. Give me a good 60 minutes, 105 minutes, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like, 90 minutes. There's horror films that are 2 hours long. There's horror films that are like 2 hours long, hour and a half long, and I'm like, you could have took some of that out, made it an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15 minutes, and it would have been great. And I think I'm telling you, son, cut out some of them pointless ass, like just long walks in the wood, and this film would have been way, way better for me.